of y'all that keep coming over here trying to tell me that young TT, Eddie Armani, regrets writing the tell-all book about Tina Turner, he regrets writing the book about Tina Turner. He didn't say that anything he wrote was a lie. Okay, check yourself. Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com for this combo promo. You can get this Renee scarf, and these Miss Hollywood DC shades for $50, or you can get the Renee scarf for $25 and the shades for $30. It's up to you, baby. But I would take advantage of the combo promo because And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue. I like this look. I really do. I really do. It is giving 70s rich white woman. I really like this, y'all. You know I'm a scarf and nice pair of shades girl. I love this. Anyway, let's continue talking about Taking Back My Name by Ikedy Turner. Because the group I put together was so popular in St. Louis, it wasn't long before a lot of men there began to get jealous. They envied us because of all of the female fans we attracted, and some of the gangs decided to challenge us. They would come into the clubs where we were playing and deliberately start fights. Sometimes they came armed with guns and knives. My band was very close though. We were a gang ourselves. There were 7 of us, 8 including me. We shared a brotherhood type of thing. So when one band member fought, well, we all helped him out. We lived as one. We didn't bother anybody, but if you messed with us, we did what we had to do. Knowing that we now had these violent rivals and feeling that we had to protect ourselves, we went out and bought guns. All the boys in my band, including myself, began to double as bouncers, helping to break up the fights in the clubs where we worked. We had to do this because word was spreading that there were a lot of fights at our gigs, and crowds were beginning to drop off. So right quick, let me explain the go-go culture in DC during the 80s and 90s. How the go-go culture went was, it would be a particular band, and it happened to be my favorite band, and they were the most popular in the 80s. I mean, they ruled the 80s. They ruled the young crowd. Wherever that particular band went, whether it would be the Black Hole, the Celebrity Hall, Cherries, the Panorama Room, because they were so popular, if you were beefing with someone, you know you would catch them ninjas coming out of the go-go. 9.5 times out of 10, there was a shooting at particular go-go's with particular bands. It's why if the club closed at 3, Nay's out by 2. Okay, well now Nay don't even go because Nay be sleep by 10. That's part of the reason why I never wait till the club is over, because people die at the end of the club. And you know, I say this as an adult, my dumb ass was dead the next weekend because I had to see my favorite band and I wasn't even thinking about the fact that, oh, somebody just got killed in front of your eyes, dummy. It was times where I'm on one side of the street, my girlfriend be like, Nay, come here. I walk over to the other side of the street and just so happen that they shooting in the very place that I just walked away from. I mean, that's just was the thing back then. Like the DC go-go culture has so much violence connected to it. Hence the reason why they tried to shut the go-go's down a lot back in the 80s and 90s. We would sometimes start slapping them upside the head with guns, pulling the trigger at the same time. How does that work? How you pistol whip someone and pow, pow, pow? How does that work? So you banging them in the head and letting your pistol go at the same time? This usually scared the shit out of them and let them know that we weren't messing around. After about 2 months, the gang violence stopped and our crowd soon went back to normal. Some of these incidents made headlines in the newspapers, and Ike began to earn a reputation in the press as a bad guy. Ike ain't care. Icky, Ikety, ain't care. He ain't care because that meant more pussy for him. The headlines dubbed him Pistol Whipping Ike Turner after one particular violent confrontation during which he was arrested. The problem was that you could not live in East St. Louis without a gun. The police came and arrested us. The East St. Louis cops didn't know they'd all been issued with special badges, and they hassled my whole group. During the next 72 hours, we were charged with everything from speeding to assault, carrying a firearm, resisting arrest, and even jaywalking. I later discovered the real reason behind this period of harassment. The girl I was married to, Anna Mae Wilson, left me and moved in with this policeman called Jackson. This was his way of getting back at me. Anna Mae wasn't only my wife, she also played piano in the band. Everybody all over St. Louis and East St. Louis knew her because she'd left me and moved in with him. This notoriety really boosted Jackson's ego. Yeah, you can't keep your women. This is another example of how that crazy Ike Turner that we all know and love turned into who he was, because he's losing women all over the place. His ego is a monster. I bought a house over in East St. Louis on Virginia Place. They called it the House of Many Thrills. It doubled as a studio, and when Box Top was recorded there. We had 10 bedrooms. Man, at night when we got off work at the club, we would invite all the girls, married or not, to come over to the house and just party all night. There were 8 of us, me and my band, and boy, we had a house full of women. Guys used to come by and they'd know their women or wives were in there. They'd be mad and take a shotgun and boom, shoot at the side of the house. After they drove by, they'd have to come round the next street to get back. So we would come out of the back door, jump the back fence, and stand on both sides of the street with shotguns. As the guys drove by, we'd shoot out all 4 tires, leaving his car flat on the ground. Then we'd drag him out and beat his ass. We used to do some stupid shits, man. No, don't start at point C, baby. Start at point A. Like hunching married man's women. You don't want nobody touching your married woman. You don't want nobody to touch none of your women. You know how heartbroken you were every time a man snatched a woman away from you, Icky. I had this guitar player called Jimmy. He was a real good player, but his problem was that he liked gimmicks. In those days, there were no balance line to balance the volume between a wah-wah pedal, a fused tone, and a neutron. So every time he switched from one pedal to another, the volume would go up and down, mostly into feedback. He would fuck up the whole solo to the song, trying to stop the feedback or bring up the volume, so I cut him loose and rehired Willie Kazart. Later, I heard about a new superstar called Jimi Hendrix. You guessed it, it was the same Jimmy I fired. In 1959, just as Ike's career was taking off, his mother died. In St. Louis, I had my first experience with white women. I had a real problem with this one white girl who was named Jane. She and her little sister were rich. According to Ike, the young lady was real possessive of him, okay? And when his mama passed, he had to go back home. The little white girlfriend thought to herself, wait a minute, This is taking too long. Girl bought him 2 cars. So you ain't finna run off with my pickle in my 2 cars that I bought you. She went down there and got her man. After about 2 weeks had gone by, Jane became impatient and traveled down to Mississippi to search for me. When she was seen in the neighborhood where I had grown up, the police started inquiring about who she was and why she was there. The woman had no idea of the danger involved in a relationship between a black man and a white woman in the South. Her actions almost got me hanged. In East St. Louis, we gained the popularity among the blacks and then started playing the club Imperial, which was for white teenagers on Sundays. We were real popular there. Soon we were drawing in white kids, and the police started harassing them for following us. We were not messing with these kids, believe me. They were 8 to 15 years old. That's good to know. I mean, because your reputation is trash. But it's also good to know that you were not pursuing young girls the way that them old black ladies were pursuing you. Then Wally Olson started a club for older white kids where my band would play, but our fans there would want to follow us over to East St. Louis afterwards. Today, those kids, I'm proud to say, are the people who run the banks, the laws, and everything in St. Louis. When I lived in St. Louis, you couldn't pay a white cop to call you no ninja. I went back there in 1971-72. 20 years later, my son, Junior, was driving and the police stopped him, pulled him over and said, "Hey, ninja, where the F are you going?" I swear I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Before Tina came along, Ike did not have girl singers in the band. Jackie Brinston, Johnny O'Neill, Willie Kazart, and Ike himself did most of the singing. I met Tina in East St. Louis. My drummer, Eugene Washington, was going with this girl named Aileen Bullock, who was Tina's sister. Tina's real name is Anna Mae Bullock. Little Ann. We were playing over at the Manhattan Club while I was going with this other girl called Pat. You worked 5 hours on stage in St. Louis, 45 minutes at a time, followed by a 15-minute break. That was the union rules. Sometimes I would just sit on stage at the piano during the break, just be messing around, playing whatever songs were on the jukebox or some other song I wanted to learn. This girl, Aileen, used to ask me, "Hey, why don't you let my sister sing?" So I say, "Yeah, okay." She did this for a month or 2, but I never did call her sister. Everybody say they can sing, but they can't. One night, I was just messing around on the piano and the drummer took the mic out of the mic stand. It had a long cord on it and he reached down to a table at the front and gave it to this girl. All at once, I heard this voice singing. "Damn," I said, "that girl can sing." It was Tina, Little Ann. We all called her Little Ann because she was very skinny then. She was singing a song that was popular in those days. I think it was "Love is Strange" or "Darling, I Love You." I don't remember, but she sounded real good. I remember that. Little Ann started going with Raymond Hill, my sax player. Raymond could be described as high yellow with wavy hair, and he liked to fool around with a lot of different women. He and Eugene were renting rooms in my house, and Tina and Aileen would come over to see their boyfriends. So I can't remember which book I read. This is sounding pretty much the same as Tina. Now it's different from What's Love Got to Do with It. Yes, they dropped a little hint that she was messing around with another band member, but they didn't put it out there blatantly so that the viewer could say, "Oh, wait a minute, she was messing with the other dude first," because I missed it. I really did. When I spoke of this before, I guess when I'm reading Tina or Eddie Armani's book, The Real Tea, I can't remember which book we read that if that information was in there, but I didn't know that from watching the movie. I only knew that information from reading the book. Tina and I got to be very good friends, and sometimes I got mad at the way Raymond treated her. At night when I wasn't partying, I would sit at the piano writing songs. Tina would be there with me, and I taught her singing and voice control and the number of songs we did then. So she was learning maybe 2 or 3 songs a night. Back in those days, people weren't that crazy about women singers, but I let her sing at the club because the people liked her. I never paid her any money, but I gave her gifts instead, and I wasn't charging her for any of the tutoring or singing lessons I gave her. For 4 years, Tina and I were close personal friends. We did everything together except have sex. Whenever I went to buy Lorraine, the girl who was living with me then, anything like clothes, coats, shoes, or jewelry, I would buy something for Tina too. Eventually, Tina got pregnant by Raymond. She and her mother had an argument about it, and her mother put her out of the house. So she went and rented her own place, a small room on Taylor Street in St. Louis. I remember reading this in iTeen. After Craig was born, she got a job at Barnes Hospital as a nurse's aide. Another thing in the movie, I didn't see no baby in no movie. The babies was there. I didn't see no baby. Okay, now I seen her pregnant with a baby. Like I know she was pregnant in the movie, but I didn't get the notion that she was pregnant by the band member. And what's love got to do with it? After Craig was born, she got a job at Barnes Hospital as a nurse's aide. Even so, she was short of money after paying for her room, the bus fare, back and forth, the babysitter, baby things, and food and stuff. So she called me. She said she was running $3 short and would I give her $3 a week. But why didn't she ask her dude? So this makes me think, what's going on here? Because the father, he's okay with Tina running around with his boss? Or was it because he was too busy running around with other bitches to be worried about what Tina was doing with his boss? As a woman, I had a boyfriend. I wouldn't ask my boyfriend's boss for the $3 unless I had some kind of trickery involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's like my boy, but it's disrespectful to your baby father / boyfriend to do that. Now, I know the boyfriend ain't right, but I don't know. It's trickery. Sounds a little trickery-ish to me. Would I give her $3 a week? She would work. I said I would give her the money, but she didn't have to work. I didn't need no singer. Everybody in my band sang. Then I found out her real circumstances. She was living in a fucking garage. A garage. A little old dumpty place in an alley, man. I felt so sorry for her living in that goddamn place, man. I went over and moved her out and into my house. I never said nothing to Tina's mother. I never even knew her mother. There was something in that movie, What's Love Got to Do with It, about me giving Tina's mother $300? That's bullshit. There was no reason to ask her mother anything. Her mother had already put her out. She got back with Raymond briefly, but his attitude didn't change. Tina wasn't my woman. I never did nothing with her then, but because I was tight with her, I didn't like that man. So I confronted him. I told him he'd better get himself a place somewhere else. In the end, Raymond got to wrestling in the house with Carson, a saxophone player, and he broke his leg. While he was sick, he went to Mississippi to stay with his mama. He never came back to St. Louis. This was about the time that I met a singer named Art Lassiter. Art Lassiter was an old tricky man. He was supposed to sing, "You're just a fool, you know you're in love, what you say. Hey, 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 hey." He had had the sound that Icky liked. Okay, and look, I done got this time together at the studio. You better bring your black ass to the studio so we can record this song. The man was like, all right, man, all right. But give me $80 because I need to fix these flat tires. Ike said this nigga was real sneaky, but he gave him the money anyway. They sitting in the studio waiting. The studio owner's like, well, where the hell your man's at? Where he at? I thought he was supposed to be here. What's happening? I ain't got all day to be playing around with you, Icky. Tina suggested since Lassiter was not there and she knew the song, she should just sing it. Then when they found the ninja, all he had to do was put his voice on it. We could lay down the backing track and just put her voice on as a guide. This was the first time I got hip to 2-track stereo. You can put the band on one track and the singer on another. So when this guy finally showed, we would be able to erase Tina's voice and put him on it. We asked the guy, Ed, who owned the studio, Ed, this is what we finna do. Okay. Put the lady on the mic. When she got on the mic, she was singing a song so strong and so powerful, the owner was like, cut. Wait a minute, why is this bitch screaming into my mic? Tell her to lower her voice. Ike was like, well, the reason why she's singing like this is because it's a song made for a man. And Tina has a very powerful voice. And that's the way it's supposed to sound. He was like, man, tell her to stop screaming in my motherfucking mic. Ed goes crazy. God damn it, don't holler in my motherfucking microphone. The reason she was hollering so loud, straining on the record, is because the song is not meant for a woman. On Tuesday nights, I was working at the Club Imperial over on Goodfellow Street. When I played the tape of A Fool in Love with Tina's voice on it for the white kids in that club, they all thought it sounded pretty good. They said, man, why don't you put it out with her singing it? Dave Dixon, who was a disc jockey with radio station KATZ, heard the tune and asked me to let him send it to Juggy Murray over at Sue Records in New York. He was real great about it. He flew down there right away. He wanted the record. He came down and asked me to sign the contract. I told him $20,000 and we would sign. He wanted to put it in Tina's name. Little Ann, I said, hell no. I told her, hey, I'm not going to do it like that because I know what's going to happen later on. I was thinking if the record's a hit and Raymond recovers from his broken leg and come back to Mississippi, he'll snatch Tina away. She was so in love with Raymond and they had a baby together, and Raymond and I had been having problems ever since we was kids. His mother, remember his mammy? His mammy was like, Raymond, why you letting Iggy take all the credit? You just as good as Iggity Iggity. It had happened before. Remember when I cut Rocket 88? As soon as we had a hit record, boom, Jackie Brinston, he left. I had written, arranged, and produced this entire tune by myself. How many times you got to get bumped on your head before you get some sense? Juggy Murray gave me $20,000 and I signed. The record was a big hit. That was when I bought my first house out in California with the money I got from the first record. But things had already changed between Ike and Tina. When Little Ann became Tina Turner, she was already pregnant with Ike's child.